I am Professor L.B.Gayakawad who is talking today on the problem of the endurance and youth. Remember, I will request you first to see this video from the beginning to the end. Please don't leave it and see it, please, and share it on a large scale. Remember, here today I am discussing on the endurance and youth. The point is very clear that I am not criticizing any youth here, or I am not criticizing any person here. I am telling just the reality of the youth, and the reality is very much important for the social life, and that's why here I am telling this reality. So remember, when we discuss of the youth, then we find that there is no endurance in the mind of the today's youth. The youth is too much active. The youth is the youth of the computerized world. But this youth has no any kind of endurance. And that's why this has been a biggest problem in the life of the Indian families, I will say. So remember, it is not the issue of the Indian families, but it is the issue of the whole world. Because the students as well as the youths have no any kind of endurance. That is the main point. And because of this not having the endurance in the minds of the youths, the suicides are happening too much in the life of the youths. And that's why the family problems have increased too much. These problems have made the life of the families so serious, and all the families have been disturbed too much because of these suicide problems. So my issue is that, my point is that now, why is not there the endurance in the minds of, in the hearts of, in the souls of the today's youth? That is the main point which I am discussing now. Remember, the point is very important because the endurance in the mind of the youths, students is not there because of the parents' carelessness. Remember, the main point is that the parents have been very much careless about their children. And nowadays, I will tell you more that the quarrels of the families have been very much responsible for having no endurance in the minds, in the hearts, and in the souls of the today's students. So the family members, the parents are quarreling too much, and that effect is coming upon the personalities of the youths. And that's why here I will tell you that there is no endurance in the minds, in the hearts, and in the souls of the today's students, or I will say today's youths. That is the main point I want to discuss. The second point I will discuss is that there is no culture nursing. Everywhere there is the culture. The culture is very important. Culture means the particular discipline. That particular discipline should be very much responsible in the families. But that culture, that discipline, I will say, is not being nursed by the family members, means I will say by the parents. And that's why here, because of no having the nursing of the culture, discipline in the families, these students, these youths are being developed as they are being shaped very differently, and there is no any kind of attention of any member in the family, and that's why these youths are increasing, their confidence is very loose, and that's why there is no any kind of, I will say, endurance in them, and that's why they have the beautiful bodies, they have the beautiful faces, but they have not the beautiful, I will say, the endurances, and that's why the problems of suicides are being too much in the life of these youths. That is the important point. Youth, this youth has no endurance to solve the problems. Remember, life demands problems. Life is problematic. Life is the afraid of struggle, because without struggle there is no life. Because we have seen many persons, many successful persons who have struggled with the problems, and then they have I will say, they have brightened their characters, their personalities. But these students cannot understand this problem, because all these things have gone too much away from these students, and that's why this is happening with these youths, and that's why here there is no any kind of I will say, endurance in the minds of the youths. That is the main point. Here I will discuss about the king Shivaji Maharaja. When we will discuss about the nursing of Shivaji Maharaja by his mother, I will say Mother Jizabai, she has, I will say, tended, she has brought up this Shivaji Maharaja very carefully, and she has given him the, I will say, she has given him the awareness of good and bad. She has told him in the history, we can see, we can read, she has told him that bad is bad and good is good, and the effect of the bad comes bad and the effect of the good comes good. She has told him many times means when the time had come in those days, she had told him about the importance of good and bad things. The parents today are also telling the effects of the good and bad to their sons and daughters, but actually they have not that capacity, and that's why these students or youth are not understanding the I will say, guidance of their parents, because their parents have not that capacity, because they have many addictions, or they have many psychological problems of their behaviors, or I will say of their minds, and that's why the particular effect which should come upon the characters of the students, so those effects cannot come, and that's why here the problem of the youths regarding the endurance, I will say, the problems are too much or the problem is too much. That is the point. So when we discuss here about the Shivaji Maharaja and Mother Jizabai, then we can say that his life was too much great, and today also we call him the Janta Raja, means I will say we know him the understanding king, because he gave justice to all the categories, I will say, people who were at him or who were in his kingdom. That is the important point. But today's students, today's youths are not giving such type of justice. They are not understanding the importance of life, and that is happening because of the I will say family fabric, the society fabric, the I will say the inside story of the families and outside stories of the family are same, and that's why the negative effects are coming more upon the personalities of the youths and students, and that's why the endurance has gone too much away from them. That is the important point which I want to say you today. And that's why here the next point I will discuss is that youth's inability to complete adventures. Remember, life is called the joint venture of adventures, but these students cannot, these youths cannot fulfill these adventures, because when there is the time comes before them and they have to make some adventures, or they have to make some I will say joint venture, means the great responsibility or the great work is there before them and they have to complete that great work, they remain behind, they lag behind, means they are unable to complete that adventures only because of the less confidence, only because of the less endurance in them, and that's why it is happening. The next point I will discuss the development of youth families. Remember, there is no any kind of development of the families in which the students, in which the youths are living. And that's why also I will tell you that the life of the students or youths is becoming, or lives are becoming too much hard here in this society. That is the main point I will discuss. Some families developed. Remember, there are, I will not say that some families are not developed. Some families are developed and some families are not developed, because in our India there is the valley of poorness and richness. The rich people are becoming day by day rich, and the poor people are becoming day by day poor. This is happening. It means that there is the valley of poorness, poverty in the life of the Indian people, and that's why this is happening. And these poor students are, I will say, are doing the copies of the rich people, and the rich people are, means the richer youths are going ahead, but there are also some students in them who have no capacity of understanding, who have no capacity of endurance. But the valley of poverty and richness is also important for not having the endurance in the minds of the today's students. That is the main point. Some families have been developed and some families are not developed. That is also the important issue in the social fabric of our India and also of the world. I will say, due to responsibility, I will say culture. And this is happening because of the different type of cultures, different type of disciplines, I will say, nursed in the families of the youths, and that is happening in this way. The next point I will discuss is that increase of addiction, and that's why because of these all things which I have been discussing with you, because of these things, the confidence of the youths or the confidence of the students, I will say, is not more. It has been less and less day by day. From time to time, they are becoming less confident, and the effect of that less confidence comes upon them, and there is the increase of the addiction. It means that these youths, these students have gone to the addictions, means they have turned to wine drinking. I am not here criticizing, but this is the reality in simple villages also, and in simple cities, and also in metropolitan cities. This is happening because though man is developing, though man is doing development, but there is no development of man's culture and discipline. Families should be developed, means we are developing the infrastructure, but we are not developing the internal sides of the man's bodies. We are not going to develop the family cultures, the family disciplines. That is the point. And only because of these things there is the increase of the addiction, corruption, and then suicides. And all these students, or I will say all these youths, become matured, and then because of all these lacunas, they turn to addiction, corruption, and then suicides. Or I will say the outside atmosphere is feeding them like this, or that atmosphere is also very much, I will say, very much fruitful to them, and that's why they are thinking that this is the life and I should live as per this life, and that's why this is happening too much in them. So I want to suggest here some things that the issue of the endurance and youth should go down, and so some solutions I will discuss here. So my point is that the saint literature should be taught in the colleges, in the schools, in the KG schools, kindergartens, and in the schools and high schools, and I will say colleges and universities. And the government also should give emphasis on these saint literatures, I will say, because these saint literatures will be very much responsible for giving some, I will say, foundation to this student, and this student will increase his confidence, I will say, only because of the culture of saint. And that's why saint literature should be brought up into the schools and homes, according to me. That is the main point. Teachers should be trained towards the moral values. Remember, there is the lacunas of the moral values. There is no importance to the moral values in the life of the youths and students, and that's why here teachers are very much important in the life of the youths, and that's why these teachers should be trained for having the I will say, for having the nursing of the moral values in the schools and colleges. That's why the students, that's why the youths will take it from them and they will behave like that. So teachers should be trained towards the moral values, and moral values, the subject on moral values should be given more on the life of the social workers, I will say, on the life of the saints, and on the life of the successful heroes. And such stories, such a syllabus will give some, I will say, encouragement to the students, and perhaps this will be very nice thing on the part of the government, as well as, I will say, on the part of the universities, or even on the part of the parents, or social I will say, social public, I will say. This is the important thing. Students centered behavior education be given in schools, colleges. Remember, the education, the behavior, the culture in the schools and colleges should be student oriented, means the discipline, the behavior which will be very much important to the student, that behavior, that discipline should be always given to the students, and there should be the freedom to the teachers. But that freedom should be in this way that the teachers also should think that these are their students. Means one teacher is there, he should understand that this is my son, this is my daughter. In this way he should understand, and when this will happen, then I want to say that this problem of the suicides or the problem of the addiction among the youths will go down. That is the point which I want to say you. Then the effect will turn to youth and youth's oldness. Remember what will happen? Then this effect will come to the youth's oldness. Because when these youths will be old, they will give all this teaching to their sons and daughters. And the problem of such a matter will decrease, will go to down level. That is the main point which I want to tell here. The school culture will be same for all races. Remember, everywhere in the world, I will say, everywhere in the world, the situation of the discipline and culture should be same. Should be same means the syllabi should be same. There should be the difference of the chapters. There should be the difference of some spiritual things, but the foundation, the teaching, the preaching of those syllabi should be very, very same. Means the education, the culture and discipline should be very, very same in total world. And that's why I feel that these students will increase their confidence and they will not commit the suicides. That is the point. Thus, endurance will increase. And if these type of things will be progressed by man, by parents, by society, by the universities and by the government, then I feel that this endurance in the students or among the students will increase, and responsibility awareness also will be increased, and the students will think of the society, will think of themselves, will think of their families, and will think of their nation, and will think of everything. Means they will understand the importance of the responsibility, and by this I will say the new creation of India will be there, and India will be again a new country. And then I will tell you is that all the problems before the man will go down, because everything is centered around the youth and student. And that's why if such type of things will happen according to me, then the problem of endurance and the problem of youth addiction, everything will come down. It will not be in the increased situation. So remember, here I told you, here I expressed here my opinion. My opinion are 100% true, I will not say, but just I thought, just the question came into my mind, entered into my mind, and that's why I released it. I released that question before you, and I feel you will like this, you will love this, and you will share my video too much among your friends. With this, I stop here. Thank you very much.